welcome to part 2 of Gav's. I've not already got a title yet. You can think of a title for my Euro trip or something. My trip anyway. Might leave Europe, never know. Part 2, Albania. So I'm actually leaving Albania today, but here we are you see the Albanian flag behind me, a Roman amphitheatre in the town of, or the city of Durrës, which was formerly a Roman town. This was an amphitheatre. It's one of the biggest they've found, I think, in the world. Would have held 15 to 20,000 people, built by the Emperor Hadrian in the year 200-ish, 2nd century at least, 202 I think, AD, where they had the gladiatorial games and all that jazz. One of the amazing things about this place is that it's massive, it's right in the middle of the city, and it was only discovered in 1966, which is weird. Also it's good because there's a dog here, and he comes and says hello to me, which is nice. There's even a bar up there. So it was only discovered in 1966, which is weird. Part of the reason for that is, if we look behind me there, in about the year 400, the Emperor Honor, I'd never heard of him either, banned gladiatorial games. Apparently they were cruel, and they converted bits of it into a church, which then became a graveyard. So no one ever thought to dig this up until 1966 to see maybe it wasn't just a graveyard by this hill, under the hill. So it was all filled in, but it's been pretty much, well, it's not even that much been excavated yet, just part of it. Pretty good condition. They would have had all their lions and gladiators fighting here. They really should have invented football, because this would have been a decent football stadium, 20,000 people. Anyway, just a bit about my trip so far. So it's Greece and Albania I thought I'd cover. I didn't get off to a very good start. I missed 2 flights, which is of me, and as I said in my previous video, perhaps a bit indicative of the state of my head. And that was kind of compounded by the fact that then when I missed my 2nd flight, I caught the 3rd one, but I managed to leave all my medication at home, a load of antidepressants. So I've had a bit of a struggly week, but I've been aware of it and I've been alright. So the upshot of that is I'm alright, it's all been good, but I haven't done that much riding. I just haven't felt like it. I felt like death in terms of my legs and just not a lot of motivation, but I've had a really nice time. So I started in Corfu, which was lovely. I always forget how nice Greek people are, which seems an awful thing to say. Like just dead friendly and open, and yeah. Corfu was nice, out of season. Went to Kavos, which was quite funny, just before the season started. It was kind of, I was going to say like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, but I guess maybe a pre-apocalyptic wasteland. You know, all the signs advertising shots and various DJs, and you know, but from last year. Where's my dog friend going? He's disappearing in a hole. Oh, he's gone. And that was quite fun. And then over to mainland Greece, did a bit of camping. I didn't spend as much time in Greece as I wanted to because I only I missed 2 days worth of flights. So and then up to Albania. My schedule is I've got to be down in Brindisi, so I'm getting the ferry from where I am now in Durrës in Albania over to Bari, and then right down to Brindisi, where I'm going to meet Marika on Saturday morning, which is flying in there, do a bit of a tour of Italy. So I guess a lot of people have been to Greece. Not a lot of people have been to Albania. Now, when I said I was coming to Albania, everything was divided pretty much into 2 camps, I would say. One was the people who said, oh, Albania, that'll be dangerous, and don't go there, you know, they're criminals, or it'd be dodgy and that. And the other was people who'd been there and said the people were really lovely. So obviously I assumed the truth is probably somewhere in between, but genuinely really liked Albania. Lovely, lovely people. I've never felt ripped off, hardly even like needed to haggle for anything. I've not, you know, I'm pretty good at these things. I know when I'm paying the prices that other people are paying. I even got a taxi and the price was just eminently fair without me having to like negotiate it much. You know, maybe I could have knocked a couple of euros off, but he waited around for me. The price of things is really cheap. Like a burek standard breakfast is 30 lek, which is about like 25p or something. Coffee is about 50, so about 30 odd p for a coffee. A beer is about 70 odd p. It's been really nice, and the people are genuinely really lovely. Not like amazingly interested in, they're quite interested in me in the UK. I met one guy who was quite funny and quite sad. he said, "Oh, you're from the UK?" I was just getting a coffee in a little cafe, and I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, I was in the UK once." I'm like, "Oh, where did you go?" He said, "Dover." I said, "Oh, Dover?" Because yeah, just one day. I said, "What? Do you go to Dover? Like for one day? It's a shithole." And he said, "Yes, they catch me." And we had a laugh about it. So he obviously wanted to go over there and go back. And another guy said, "Yeah, like a lot of people want to go to the UK." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Why?" He said, "It's really easy to be a criminal there," is what he said, told me, my hairdresser. He said, because they just speak Albanian to each other, and he said the cops don't care, unlike Germany and Italy and Spain. He said it's easy just to deal drugs. So, but everyone I've met here has been genuinely really nice, and I've never felt like dodgy or sketchy. It's felt safe. I often benchmark a place by how much the bikes are locked up. Got a dog friend. Where is he? Dog friend! Doggo! Hello. By how much the bike's locked up, and they use like little crappy locks, so that makes me think things are pretty safe. And I was going to say, like, it's not overly developed. There's plenty of nice cars on the road. People speak a bit of English. The people, they're quite good looking. People, well dressed. They all do want to move to the European Union, or Albania to be part of the European Union, which is kind of embarrassing coming from a country that allegedly doesn't want to be part of the European Union, and I can't quite understand why. The girls weren't that interested to throw themselves at me to get a visa. I didn't try, but I didn't get a lot of interest. Like, oh, a visa! I didn't get any of that. So I was going to say it's probably a bit like Greece was 20 years ago or something, but that actually feels really unfair, because riding around the countryside of Greece and then Albania, what I noticed in Greece is that really empty village. Like, the village is just dead. Everyone's moved to the city. There's nothing happening. There's abandoned houses everywhere. Whereas Albania seems to have a lot more life about it. I guess a lot of that would come down to the kind of cost of, Greece had a boom before the bust, and the cost of living and the cost of a property. It's so cheap here that you can afford just to live in the villages, and I've seen a few guys whose job seems to be to follow 4 goats around all day, just being a goat herd. High on the hill was a lonely goat herd, yodelay, yodelay, hee-hoo. And the villages and all the towns seem to have a lot more life than in Greece, where it just seems to be very sort of monocultural, like one industry, or whatever that is. Around tourism or something. But here, life just seems to be quite good for most Albanians. I think they're poor, relatively in terms of spending power, but compared to Greece, all the villages seem lively, the farms seem well tended, and people seem happy. Plenty of modern cars on the streets. The odd bike lane in Tirana was good fun. It's a bit weird. There's all these bunkers everywhere that Enver Hoxha, the dictator, built to sort of instill a sense of paranoia. And one of the interesting things I found, they had this real secret police called the Sliperi or something, similar to the Stasi in East Germany, but Albania was quite isolated. It didn't really get on. When Khrushchev came to power, they fell out. He was good friends with Stalin, but not with Khrushchev. And so they were very isolated. Whilst they were a communist nation, they were neither friends with China nor Russia nor the Yugoslavia because of the Kosovo issue. Greece didn't like them, so they were quite isolated. And when the revolution started to come in 1990, the police actually didn't have any anti-riot gear at all. They had to get some quickly from overseas, because the secret police was so omnipresent, if you like, that the thought of riots or protests was never a thing. So the police didn't actually have any idea about crowd control or stopping rioting or anything, or protests, because it just never happened. But it doesn't feel like a real ex-communist country. Like, if you've been around Eastern Europe, all the tower blocks, it does feel more Mediterranean, which I guess it is. It's a Mediterranean country. Lots of olives and fruit and stuff in the fields, and the houses don't feel that kind of oppressive Eastern European feel that even if you go somewhere like Ljubljana or Bratislava or Prague, you get on the outskirts. It does feel a lot more kind of Greek and almost Italian, and a lot of Italian tourists come here. So yeah, I've genuinely really liked Albania. I wish I could spend longer here. I'd definitely recommend it. There's some fierce hills if you go in the hills. The weather's been a bit shit, but I've been unlucky apparently, global warming and all that. It's been unseasonal. But yeah, really nice time. And my next stop is, the hostel I stayed in was great. I met a dog called Bongo, we took for a walk a couple of times. It's always good for me, I like dogs. Yeah, it's been awesome. No problems with the bike. Aside from my forgetting my own medication, which was a bit of So I've not done a lot of riding between that and the weather, but I'm quite happy. I'm on holiday, didn't spend much. Like, a hostel was €6 a night, and you know, for €3 a day you could eat fairly comfortably. I've eaten a lot of gyros. Going to go and get a ferry shortly over to Bari, which is overnight, and then yeah, start from there. So that's Albania. Any questions about Albania? And the one thing I'm disappointed about though is actually I've not mentioned Norman Wisdom to anyone. Apparently Norman Wisdom was the only kind of Western entertainment they could get here during the dark years, so I've not actually quizzed anyone about that. I might just go and ask someone this afternoon before I get my ferry about Normal Wisdom. Sounds like a challenge, doesn't it? But any other questions, then let me know. Let's go and see if Doggo wants to make friends again, shall we? Hey, Doggo! Dog friend, come on! Hey, come on! Oh, he's having an itch. He was really stalky earlier. Come on. Interestingly, he's got a tag on his ear, which, if anything like other countries, hello matey, means that he's been neutered. So he's been neutered and then kind of left as a street dog, but because he's got a tag on his ear, then he's not going to make any more puppies.